What is up, guys? Back with another tier list. Still not the biggest fan of tier list, but the video I did, it got a lot of good reception, and people in the comments were like, hey, how about you do an actual tier list of season 5 and how good you think characters are? So it's like, you know what? We are about 5 to 6 months into the season right now. And we all gotten a lot of playtime with the season, so now is a good time to say, where do we think characters are this season? But it's also a very interesting season because of how the world is right now with Corona and stuff, COVID-19, we don't really have a lot of international competition. So it's very much based on regions, also how good characters are. Because it's very much, I play Phenom a lot, which is, a very good international player. How good I think a character is very much valued off how good my opponent is with, the characters he play. Phenom has been playing a lot of different characters to figure out what he thinks is the best characters in the game right now. And my opinion is going to also be based off of that. So this is going to be a legit tier list, not like the last time that was a bit like, I spinned a bit to be not like a completely, like, a normal tier list. This is going to be a complete normal tier list from S to D tier characters in the game and how good I think they are. And I'm also going to try to give reasons to where I put characters, but some characters I also think is kind of self-explanatory why I put them where they are. And please, come with, give me your opinions in the comments. It's always fun to read. I read all comments. I don't respond to all comments because that would be a lot of people at times. But I read your comments, and I think a lot of you have a very interesting point of view. And I'm not this is my tier list. This is how I feel with the players I play against in the region I play. These characters, how good they are. I can't, I don't have any tournaments to base it off. I can't see the highest of high tier play and how they're using their new characters or the characters they're using. I can only base it off my own experience this season, which is very interesting. And with that said, let's just get right into it. And I think I'm going to start with the worst characters, and I'm going to save the best characters for last. So I'm going to start at the bottom, D tier, and then I'm going to move up to S tier. Because I think you guys want to know who the best characters is in the game the most, so I'm gonna save that for last. But yeah, let's start with D tier. And there's only one D tier character in this game for me. And if you tune into my streams, you probably know who I'm gonna say, but that's Alex. I really dislike Alex as a character. The fundamental design of the character just makes him bad. He's not good. Alex is such a bad character design in my opinion that he makes the player do bad plays. Because they cannot do anything smart. Like Alex as a character design forces the player into situations where they have to take a lot of risks. A lot of bad risks too. Like a lot of risk that doesn't make sense in this grand scheme of how to play Street Fighter 5. And that's why I think this character is the absolute worst character in the game and the only worst character in the game. There's players in this game that can make him work, and I have the utmost respect for it because he's just not like I really dislike this character from a design perspective. And it has nothing to do with the player. I respect every player that picks him up and can do well with him. Because it's freaking hard. It's really freaking hard, and you have to be so on top of your rock, paper, scissors game, and so on top of your neutral to be able to make him work. But I don't think he's a very good. I think he's a really bad character. I really do. He's generally just a really bad character. Then we go to C tier. And C tier is mostly like characters that, in my opinion, are bad. But if you're fundamentally solid and you play fundamentally well, you can avoid high risk situations and still win. So these characters have a hard time because of a lot of bad matchups, but in general, they can avoid high risk, low reward situations if they play fundamentally well. And those characters are, in my opinion, Ryu, Sagat, Bang, Nash. And these characters all have in common, in my opinion, they're zoners. They're zoners that have a good zoning game. They can default to that strategy. But they're not good characters, in my opinion. This is characters that don't really help the player win. But the player, if he's smart enough, can make the character work without taking high risks. Too high of risks. Which makes them better than Alex, in my opinion. But they're still not... these characters have a lot of bad matchups, and they aren't that good, in my opinion. It's kind of funny because these 4 characters are all characters I struggle with when I play Urian in a way. I feel like it's gotten a lot better in Season 5 because of Urian's new V-skill. But before this season, these characters were actually really hard for Urian to deal with because of their heavy zoning playstyle. But it's gotten better because of V-skill too. But they still, just because they do, I feel like they do decently against Urian, doesn't mean they do decently against the rest of the cast. I feel like if you understand how to play Street Fighter 5 and you can remain calm, you have a very good chance of beating any of these characters. If you're confident, calm, and understand their game plan so you can understand so you can build a game plan to beat them, they aren't really an issue, these characters. And then the last one in C tier that is a bit different is Zangief, which is the opposite of these zoners. And that's just because Zangief isn't that good in my opinion. He struggles with the same issues as Alex. The difference is that when he gets in and he gets that grab, he gets the knockdown, he can make the game spin out of control. Like, he needs one good hit and you can be dead. And the risk versus reward of the knockdown he does is usually in his favor. So that's the difference between him and Alex, is that when Zangief gets the right hit, you're mostly likely dead. But he's still not a good character in my opinion, because it demands a lot of guesses. And if you guess wrong, you're probably lost a round. So it's kind of like the complete opposite of the other C tier characters, in which, like, this character has a really good rock, paper, scissors game. But you can't, like, being fundamentally solid with this character is probably not gonna net you a lot of wins. Like, of course, if you play very patiently and, like, you read that your opponent is very impatient and, like, you can shut down, which is also, like, a reason, like, you can use this character to shut down some specific playstyles without having to take insane risks, in my opinion. So that's my C tier. So this is C and D tier. Then we go into B tier, which is just kind of like, this is the mech characters. This is the characters that they aren't bad, but they aren't that good either. Like, yeah. This is almost the worst tier to be in. Like, these characters, like, you can, like, because they are so bad, they can kind of be good because, like, unfamiliarity, like, you don't really see a lot of Alex players in tournament. You don't see a lot of Fangs. You don't see a lot of Nashes. You don't see a lot of Sagats. You see a lot of Ryus and Zangiefs. So, but the unfamiliarity makes it so that these characters can still be good. While B tier, we usually see a lot of B tier characters in tournament play and, like, also online and stuff. So, like, B tier characters to me are Kage. I feel like Kage is better than people think, but I don't think he's that good. That's all I can say about it. Blanca. This might be very biased because I'm a Urian player. Urian does very, very well against Blanca. Some people might put Blanca up higher up. I wouldn't. I don't think Blanca is that good. But that's because I play Urian. I see when I see other people play against Blanca, I understand why it's hard. When I play Seth, I can see why Blanca is a hard character to play against. But I just have the most experience with Urian, and it's just not a hard matchup. So that's why he goes in B, in my opinion. Lucia, we just haven't seen a lot of her. Like we have one player in Europe, Will Tupac, that plays Lucia from time to time. He switched to Seth. But that Lucia was scary. But it's just kind of underdeveloped in a way. I still think the character is pretty damn decent, but just underdeveloped in a way. As much as he's a troll online, I don't think Honda is that good. I think it depends on what character you play, obviously. If your character has the right tools, they can deal with Honda pretty easily. And, like, none of these characters below here, I don't think have the tools to deal with Honda. Actually, Fang might have, but it might be low damage options. Actually, Sagat might too. But like they have options to deal with Honda, but they aren't very high damage, so Honda can take a lot of risks. But as soon as you play a character that has the right tools to deal with Honda, that, like, has the right buttons, the right frame data, Honda isn't that scary. A lot of people are saying that Honda is really, really stupid into this patch, and he is. Honda has a very stupid game plan. But I just think that's like just because he's how can you say it? His game plan is very simple for the Hunter player, but it can also be beaten if you understand how the Hunter player plays, why they do stuff they do, and if you're just a bit more patient, like the Hunter player is kind of shut out. So that's why I'm putting him B tier. I feel like Dalsim is also B tier. Like Dalsim is B tier because he just kind of he can shut out most of these C and D tier. Like Dalsim has like some really bad matchups, but he's starting to get more decent matchups in my opinion. And we have a lot of good Dalsim players in Europe. So it's also just this might be biased again, where like some people might put him lower, but because of how good the Dalsim practice I get is, I see how good Dalsim is, in my opinion. Same goes for Birdie. Birdie is a character that used to be A and A tier. Some would even discuss S tier in some seasons, but he's just gotten nerfed too hard. Like a good Birdie player can still do a lot of damage, and it's not like he has a lot of bad matchups. It's just he's just not as effective as he used to be, but he's still he's still a decent character, which is why he goes into B tier. It's kind of the same thing with Lucia. He's just kind of underdeveloped, in my opinion. I don't think the character is bad. He has all the right tools to be good. There's just not anyone, like, we just haven't seen anyone really take the character. I would say Ed is untapped potential, but so far, what I see is a B tier character. Of course, Jury, B tier. Like, I don't know. She's not she's a good character. She's annoying to play against. She's really annoying to play against. She has some really good tools, but she's not that good either. Like she's not a bad character. She's just not a good character either, which is what B tier is to me. These characters aren't bad. It's just not that good either. Like these characters in tournament play, you can win by having the character you play, but you might as well also lose depending on the matchup. It's a bit more matchup based with these characters, where these characters you have like C and D tier. It's kind of like the player has the character carry the character, whereas here it's a bit back and forth depending on the matchup. When we go into A and S tier, the character carries the player in a way. Like you have to think less about options, because your character has so many counter options, so you don't have to be as aware. So you can use your brain power for other things, which is good in tournament play. But yeah, like that Jury is just like, she's not bad, but she's not good either. Again, yeah, Ken is another one of those characters that just like Ken is not bad. He's just not that good either. Like there's good Ken players and there's bad Ken players, which with most characters. But like, yeah, he's just like, Ken is not a really good character, and he's not a good character, but he's also not a bad character, because like you see Ken players go far sometimes in tournament, and like you see like when you play a good Ken player, you can feel that like they are good because they understand how to play this character. It's not because the character's insanely good either. He's good, but not really good, and he's not. He's B tier in my opinion. Now, this one is the most controversial to me, personally, and that's Falke. This might shock people like Falke, what the hell? But we have a really good Falke player in Europe, to the point where some in Europe we might even put her in A now because of for Phillips. He's really good with this character, and he really shows that this character can do a lot of damage against characters you wouldn't think. But I don't necessarily think that's because the character is really good. I think it's more for Phillips that's really good with the character. And I think that's my B tier. The only one that would be left I'm thinking about being B tier is Gil and Cody. But I feel like they're good enough to be A tier. I feel like Gil is untapped potential, but there's so much potential that he might be A, that I think he's A. But let's move on to A and let's talk about it. I think Gil is A. We started talking about him, so like I feel like Gil is A. He's untapped potential right now, but he does a lot of damage, a lot of stun. He does decently well in a lot of matchups. Doesn't have a lot of hard matchups. I played Gil, you guys know that. I feel like he's a good character. I honestly feel like he's a really good character. I don't think he's broken. S tier is usually for broken characters. But he's good, in my opinion. And the same goes for Seth. Like, untapped potential. Like, in my opinion, Seth is close to being an S tier character. Like if I practice more with Seth, and if I see more Seth play, there's a good chance that Seth is a S tier character. But for now, I feel like Seth is A tier. But there's definitely a lot of untapped potential in Seth, and I like to play her. Then we have some fallen from glory characters. Like Cammy is A. She's a good character, but she's not what she used to be. She's not S tier anymore. She's just still a really good character. Menard, the same deal. A character that used to be really, really good, but got hit a bit with a nerf hammer, and also other characters got buffed, so she got a bit worse. So it's mostly matchup wise. She's good, but not that good in my opinion, and that's why she's A tier. Like, she's a good character. Like, now we go from now we are in the category where we're saying, okay, these characters are good, they're just not that good, you know. Same for Sakura. This might be a bit controversial, but Sakura is a character that is like, she has all the right tools. She's a race car on the map. She moves so fast, have so far-reaching buttons, has good knockdown combos, has a very scary Okazumi with an annoying throw loop, kind of like semi-throw loop. She's a good character in my opinion, and it's just untapped potential. Same goes for Cody. Cody, I feel like, is one of those characters. Like, Cody can play his game plan against most of the cast, and he's gonna have a kind of a hard, and he's gonna give them kind of a hard time. Like, he has some really good moves. Like, he has that EX Sunk is so freaking annoying. Like, that the characters almost made it here just by EX Sunk. EX Sunk is such a ridiculous good move, in my opinion. It is insane. It just makes the character so good. Like, that +2 move just goes past 2 neutrals so easily with that EX Sunk. It's insane. Vega is one of the characters that got buffed. Like, this is like, these are very, I know these three are very controversial in terms of being A tier, but these characters aren't bad anymore. These characters can do a lot of damage, and there's also some really good players playing them that is showing that these characters can do damage. In my opinion, these characters are good. They're just not busted. We haven't sorted this list out. It isn't like this is the best A tier character and this is the worst B tier A tier character. I might do that at the end. I might move a bit around in the tier list to show what's the best A tier character and what's the worst A tier character and stuff like that, and worst B tier character and stuff. But for now, we're just placing them in their respective column. Or actually, it's a row. Their respective rows. Karen, she's good, but she's not that good anymore. I don't think I need to really explain why. She got hit with some hard nerfs, and she's still a good character. Still a hard matchup for Urian, one of the most annoying matchups for Urian. But she struggles against other characters now in a way she didn't do before. Guile also fallen for glory. Not that good anymore, in my opinion. But still, he's a good character. He's just not that good. Nikali, he's a good character. Like I can't explain it in any other way. He's just good. Poison, good character. Like I can't even like they're just good. Poison is hard to use, but she's a really good character in my opinion. She's strong. Abigail, no, sorry, Balrog. Balrog is good. Balrog's really good, but he's not broken. Like, he has some really, really strong tools that make him a good character, but I don't think he's like... He has a few bad matchups, as far as I know. But I still think he like he can win a lot of his games just by playing, you know, like Balrog plays. He doesn't have to really respect... Like, he has to respect his opponent, of course, but like, he can play... His playstyle makes it so he can play his way of playing without really having to think about what character he plays against sometimes, which is really strong. That's a good sign of a really good character. This character got a lot of nerf. Ibuki. She's good, but she's not that good. I think that's correct. I don't think she's S tier anymore. She's still a really good character and in the right hands she can do a lot of damage, but she's not like, she isn't like, you know, S tier is kind of like, you know, the character carries the player. A character can carry the player, rather. It's not always the case. Sometimes you get the match of like, but it really feels like S tier, where it really feels like, you know, a a worse player can do better than they should with this character. That's S tier. And Ibuki isn't that anymore. Same goes for Laura. Just really, really good mix-up game, really good pressure game. Like, when she gets in and she can steal around easily. So that's why she's A tier. Like Laura doesn't care who she plays against. She might have to think a bit differently about neutral. But as soon as she gets that hit, get the knockdown, get the hit, she can absolutely floor most characters in the game. And it doesn't matter what character she plays against. She will absolutely destroy them. Which is why she's A tier. Yeah, Mika's A tier too. It's for some reason as Laura. It's the same thing. Mika plays how Mika wants to play. And if she gets in, she gets in. And it's a guess for the game kind of situation most of the time. Especially if you're in the corner. So that's why she's a good character. It's the exact same reason as with Laura. And it's the same reason for Abigail. Like, I also think some people would maybe put Abigail in S tier, in my opinion. I won't, because Urian does really well against Abigail. So it's hard for me to imagine the character being broken when the character I play the most beat the character pretty easily. And then we have Colleen is A tier. She isn't broken. She's good. She's again, like, I don't really have any other argument for Colleen other than she's a good character. I don't feel like she's good sometimes and bad other times. It just feels like she's good. She just isn't broken, which is why she's A tier, in my opinion. And then we have the S tier. This is probably my S tier. And that's probably someone that's going to put question marks to, especially Chun-Li, if you don't really follow the pro scene. But let's move on. Like, G, the man is just the most efficient guessing rock, paper, scissors character in the game. He has a lot of situations he can put himself in where where the risk versus reward is very much in his favor. If he gets the hit, you're probably dead. And if you guess wrong, G probably, you can't really punish G that hard. The only downside to G kinda is his lack of wake up, but he's still like he also has good buttons and good neutral, so it can be hard enough to just knock the G down. But if the G gets the knockdown, that's a big chance you're dead. Plus, he has an insane V-trigger. He probably has the best V-trigger in the game right now, to be honest. And that's coming from a Urian player. Which, like, you know, like, you pick Urian because he has a really good V-trigger most of the time. But yeah, G is definitely up there. I'm gonna save Urian for last. Let's talk about, like, Rashid is still freaking good. He's still so freaking good. Like, he's such a good character. Like, it's insane. Like Rashid is still, like, even with, like, he didn't even get nerfed that hard. We're still gonna see a lot of Rashids in tournament. If there was a tournament this year, we would still see Rashids in top 8s. I'm 110% sure of it. And I'm also 110% sure, 10% sure we're gonna see a lot of Gs in tournament if there was a tournaments this year. This is why these guys are S tier, because if we was watching tournaments, these characters would be in them, top 8s. Not just because of the players, but also because the characters themselves are really good. Same goes for Akuma, which is insane because Akuma actually got nerfed pretty freaking hard, but the character is just so fundamentally solid that it didn't really matter. I'm still seeing, like, you know, okay, I've seen a fall in Akuma players. They kind of dropped the character after the nerfs, but honestly, the guys that are still playing Akuma are still doing the same things, kinda, and they're still working because the character is just fundamentally solid. Like, they took away some of his cheap stuff, but they didn't nerf him on the fundamental side. So he's still really freaking good. Seku, this might be controversial, but he might be underrated in a way. But I feel like he's really, really, really strong, especially young Seku. It's just a really, really good character. We also have Infectious in Europe, and he's so hard to play against. He's so good, which also, like, makes me think, like, the character is just... Infectious makes Seku look busted. When you play against Infectious, he makes the character look busted. Which probably means that the character is probably busted. He's just good enough to tap into that potential, if that makes sense. Same for M. Bison. You know, I play Problem X on ranked a lot. The character's still busted. The character's still so freaking good. Like the character is just... insanely good. And Chun-Li is kind of like taking off from Karen. A lot of Karen players have switched to Chun-Li in Europe. Phenom has been playing a lot of Chun-Li. The character is actually really strong fundamentally. And then we have Urien, which is kind of funny because I felt so bad about Urien at the start of the season. You saw the video. You probably saw the video. If you didn't, you heard me being very much, oh no, they killed the character. The character's dead. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Happily admit it, I was wrong. The character is better than has been. Urien is better than he has been for the last 2 seasons. That V-Skill 2 is a blessing. That V-Skill 2 is insanely good. That V-Skill 2 completely saved this character. And that's mind-blowing how big of a change that was. But that V-Skill 2 made it so that a lot of matchups Urien had a hard time in before. He doesn't really have a hard time in yet. Anymore. Guile. One of the most annoying characters to play against for Urien. V-Skill 2. Now the Guile player can't sit back and do V-Skills all day to win the Fireball war because Urien can do the same thing. Ryu. Another annoying character. Again, Ryu can force Urien can now force the Ryu to move forward because we have the V-Skill. So if they block our Fireball, if we just use our V-Skill and do Fireballs in neutral, we get V-meter, which means we get closer to Aegis. Before we had to go in and take risks to get Aegis running because we had to take damage first. Now we can actually charge our Aegis reflector safely in neutral, which is just, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good that we get V-meter off blocking and we get V-meter off if the Fireball touches another Fireball or another projectile, and we get even more V-meter if they get hit by the Fireball. And the Fireball properties are so freaking good, and it's so slow or it's so fast and it has so many hits on it. It really just changed the character to the better. So that's why Urien is tier now. He's really, really strong. It's a V-Skill that takes some time to get used to because it enhances his neutral, which in turn also enhances his V-trigger. But we just have to figure out how to use the tool. But it's a really strong tool. It's really, really good, and I see it when I'm playing the other good players in my region. I see how I can make them do stuff now I couldn't do before because I have this V-Skill, which is really, really strong. So I think this is my tier list. Give me a second to just move around on them, and then I'm gonna do and then we're gonna talk about it. Who is the best and who is the worst? Okay, I've moved around on the characters. Now I think I've sorted them such that the best character in the category is on the left side and the worst character is on the right side. Okay, with this big one, it goes like, this. If you can see, it follows the whole line down and then it goes downwards. So in my opinion, the best characters in S tier is G, Bison, Rashid, Akuma, Seko, Chun-Li, and Urien. Sort of in that order. I would say it's kind of I would definitely say Urien is the worst of the S tiers and G is the best. But I'm not sure about Chun-Li and Seku and Akuma and Rashid's placement and Bison. Bison, Rashid, and Akuma could fight for top 2 spot right now. And Seku and Chun-Li could switch place, in my opinion. I don't think I would say that G could switch place with anyone. Same kind of goes for this one. I would say Cammy is the best. But Cammy, Karen, Abigail, and Buki are all in a tier for kind of themselves. And then we have Colleen, Gal, Manat, Nikali, Poison. Those guys can kind of switch in between places in a way. If we want to really split it down. Seth, I want to put higher, but I don't know enough about Seth. Gil, I don't know why he should be put. That's why I'm kind of just putting him kind of in the middle. And then we have these characters where they're good characters, but they could definitely be better. These characters most of the time struggle against these A tier characters, if that makes sense. So that's why they're kind of at the bottom of it. They're A tier characters in my opinion, but they're not that insanely good A tier characters. They're not. It's not they have a chance to be broken tier or have been broken tier. These characters have been broken tier. Abigail, Karen, Cammy, and they could become it again with some small tweaks. Again, B tier, we have Honda as the first Lucia. I feel like those two are the best B tier characters. Then we have Blanca and Jury. as the next two. Like, they could switch places. Kage, Ken, Birdie kinda can switch places, these three characters. Falke, Ed, and Dalsum can kind of switch places. I would say Dalsum is probably the worst B tier character in my opinion. And Zangief is probably the best C tier character because like his guessing game is just so good. Fang and Rio can maybe switch places. Sagat can't, and Nash is definitely the worst C tier character in my opinion. And then we have Alex. So this is my tier list. Here it is. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? There's some of these characters you really don't understand why I put in the row I do. Let me know in the comments. Let me hear it. I'd love to hear the discussion. Please keep it, proper. Don't be too mean. If you see someone with a different opinion than your own, we're all just humans discussing about a video game in these times. So chill, be nice, but I encourage discussion. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.